These are some morbid facts about Charles Manson. Charles Manson's mother didn't even bother giving him a name. When nurses handed her the paper, she wrote no name, and Manson's birth certificate read no name Maddox until his death. After his mother spent 3 years in prison, she came home and hugged Charles for the first and only time. He later said that this hug was the only happy memory from his childhood. When 32-year-old Manson was released from prison in 1967, he requested to stay behind bars. He'd spent nearly half his life in jail and saw it as his only true home. Authorities denied his refusal, and Manson started his cult shortly after he was freed. On August 9, 1969, Manson instructed 3 of his cult members to kill everyone inside the home of a record executive whom Charles claimed had double-crossed him. But what Manson didn't know was that the executive wasn't there and instead rented out the property to his friends Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate.
Videos you really need to see before you die, Part 3.
Morbid Facts, Part 294. This iconic photograph of 28-year-old Marcy Borders covered in dust was taken just after the World Trade Center collapsed on 9/11. Marcy was a bank teller who worked on the 81st floor of the North Tower. She survived the collapse, but sadly died from cancer in 2014, likely caused by the toxic fumes she was exposed to. This is the gravestone of H.R. Giger, the Swiss artist and sculptor who designed the creatures for the movie Alien. On a British Airways flight in 1995, a woman was complaining of chest pain, so 2 doctors came over to check on her. They quickly realized she was suffering from a punctured lung and required immediate surgery. But the problem was they couldn't land for help since the increase in air pressure could kill her. So they performed mid-air surgery on her using a coat hanger, silverware, and a bottle of cognac for sterilization. Within 10 minutes, they'd saved her life.
Scary facts about sleep part 3. This one we have hypnic jerks. Have you guys had it whenever you're drifting off to sleep or you're in your sleep in a dream and all of a sudden it feels like you're falling and you have to like jump up to try and stop you falling? I'm sure most of you have. I know I certainly have, and it is terrifying. Scientists say it is linked with stress and anxiety levels, but also it is linked with caffeine and irregular sleep patterns. So that means I am fucked. Apparently it's when your soul is being pulled back from an out-of-body experience.
We finally know the identity of the 5-year-old boy found deceased in this suitcase 6 months ago, as well as the disturbing social media posts of his mother just before his death. His name is Cairo Jordan. His body was found in Indiana, but he's actually from Atlanta, Georgia. A month prior to his body being found, this woman, Deshawn Anderson, led police on a high-speed chase. She didn't stop until she ran out of gas. Cairo and another woman named Dawn Coleman were inside that car. Police had to bust out a window to gain access. Cairo was clearly in danger, but still allowed to stay with Anderson and Coleman. Fingerprints on the suitcase matched Anderson and Coleman's. Police didn't know why she harmed her child until they found her Facebook post. Both women talked about casting spells, exorcisms, curses, doing blood rituals, etc. Basically, she believed her son was possessed by a demon. On March 18th of this year, she wrote, "Can't wait to tell this story about that exorcism," a book about living with a demonic child, and a podcast. On April 11th, she was released from jail and wrote, "Just got out of a jail mission. Yes, had to do some healing and killing." The following day, she tweeted this to a local priest in Indiana. "I have survived the death attacks from my 5-year-old. I have been able to weaken his powers through our blood. I have his real name and he is 100 years old. Need assistance." And 2 days after tweeting that, Anderson and Coleman dumped Cairo's body in a suitcase in the woods. Dawn Coleman was arrested in San Francisco a few days ago, but Cairo's mother is still on the run. She was last seen in the Los Angeles area. Cairo's death was the result of an electrolyte imbalance, likely due to vomiting and diarrhea. But because Anderson apparently wanted to exorcise a demon out of her son, it's likely that she induced this somehow.
Dirty facts about history that school probably didn't teach you. Part 20. Before she married Ronald, Nancy Reagan was known around Hollywood for her oral abilities, therefore making her a certified throat goat. Queen Victoria really loved doing the deed with her husband, Prince Albert. Like, really loved doing it. To the point where it was audible through doors and walls several times daily. After the Founding Fathers signed the Declaration of Independence, they went frat boy mode and racked up a pretty impressive bar tab. A bottle of whiskey, 2 bottles of wine, and 7 to 10 beers per Founding Father. George Washington in particular was known as the 3-bottle man, meaning he could drink 3 entire fifths of whiskey without blacking out. The guy who invented sea monkeys was a white supremacist, so if you ever bought this bullshit, you indirectly contributed to the Klan.
Down that boogie, down let's groove, take that groove, get you to move and send us right to life. Alright, baby, slice it right, let's groove, set in your shoes, let's go and groove, take that alright.
Welcome to a new edition of Shit I Wish I Knew. Oh, some of Auntie's favorite spooky superstitions edition. We all know the superstition that horseshoes should be pointing up for luck, but you won't find horseshoes like that in my house. All of Auntie's horseshoes point down. Want to know why? Upside down hanging horseshoes actually ward off evil spirits. And I would much rather be protected than lucky. Auntie loves elephants for decor, but did you know if the elephant's trunk is pointing down, that's bad. Your elephant's trunk always need to be up in order to have good luck. You should never have 2 mirrors facing one another, It is said to open a doorway for the devil himself. And you should never have a mirror facing your bed, Did you know it is believed that your reflection in the mirror is actually your soul? Hence why breaking a mirror is such bad luck. It is believed when you break a mirror, you've done damage to your soul, and you will have 7 years bad luck. But if you break a mirror, don't fret, there is a way around this, Auntie's got you. Collect the broken pieces and get a hammer. Pound them all into a powdery dust and toss them into moving water. And voila, no more 7 years bad luck. Keep a mirror facing your front door. It is said to scare away any evil spirits that are trying to come inside with their own reflection. Back in the day, it was believed that people who were too vain paid the price. And those who stared at their reflection for too long in the mirror would eventually see the reflection of the devil himself standing over their right shoulder. Never walk backwards. It is said that you're showing the devil the direction in which you are going. If you light a candle and the flame burns blue, it is said that there is a spirit nearby. It is extremely bad luck to stir any of your drinks with anything but a spoon. Especially, don't ever use a knife. There seems to always be a lot of confusion with this, but did you know midnight is actually the witching hour? Where 3 or 3:30 or 3:33 in the morning is actually the hour of the D words. If something keeps waking you up at these times, keep a Bible underneath your bed and a bell on your nightstand. Say the Lord's Prayer and ring that bell. D words hate that sound of a bell. Let's talk about things happening in threes. D words are synonymously linked to the number 3, as they love to mock the Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Hence why 3 is considered the D word hour. So if you're awoken at 3, hear 3 knocks, wake with 3 mysterious scratches, those are all signs linked to D word activity. If you hear 3 knocks at 3 a.m., do not go, do not answer that door. Also, if you hear your name called at 3, 3:30, 3:33, D words love to find ways to lure you to a place that is not safe. They will mimic sounds of things that you would go to normally, like a baby crying or children laughing. So if you hear any of these things at 3 a.m., don't go, unless you have a baby and it's crying, then go. Keep a glass of water next to your bed to absorb all the negative energy. Do not drink the water, flush it down the toilet. If a broom falls, expect a visitor. And never ever have peacock feathers inside of your home. They are very bad luck in the house. I love you so much. Blessings.